All right. This is more of a Jeff thing, I feel like. Yeah. Yeah.
You okay there, old man?
Yeah.
All right. A little bit lower. All right, ready? And...
Hey guys, it's Jason from Aquarium Reptile Depot in Citrus Heights, California, popping right at you. So we're gonna show you a UV sterilizer here from Hygger. It's a newer product that we started carrying. We've had it for a little bit, tested it. We actually use it in store. I'm gonna show you it in action, but I'm gonna show you an unboxing first. But this is a Hygger UV sterilizer, 6 watts with the built-in pump on it. So only a total of about 8 watts that's being in use. So if you guys are familiar or unfamiliar with UV sterilizers, what a UV sterilizer does, it sterilizes. So that means it doesn't allow something to reproduce. It doesn't kill it, but it sterilizes it from reproducing. So most of the time, most of us will get them for algae. So the algae will go in through the pump, get sterilized by the light, because it's a light that sterilizes the algae or bacteria or parasite or anything in there, and then it doesn't allow it to reproduce. So with this one here, it's plug and play. You don't need anything else for it. Bulbs included, pumps included, and yeah, basically that's it for a UV sterilizer. So that's why a lot of times customers ask us, hey, can you sell me a product that kills algae? Yes, we can, but that's only temporary because it doesn't usually necessarily kill all the algae. And a lot of times killing algae, chemical doesn't know what to kill. So you have like live plants in there, like live coral, you do run the risks of affecting them. The good thing about a UV, like I was saying, like it's free floating. So it has to flow through the pump and light to sterilize. So your plant, your coral, it's not gonna go through the light. So it's not sterilizing the coral or affecting them in any shape or fashion. A lot of times customers will come in here and asking about cloudy water, milky water, foggy water. Again, a UV sterilizer will really help with that. A lot of times that's a bacterial bloom. So this will definitely help clear it up. You want to avoid bacterial blooms, so that's why we don't recommend doing huge water changes. That's why we don't recommend like cleaning your filters under tap water or hot water or anything like that, because basically you want to keep your beneficial bacteria going, but sometimes you get an excess of it. But that is the byproduct. If you do too much to your tank, you add too much light to your aquarium, then you'll get green water. Again, this is why UV sterilizer comes into play. Also, it kind of helps with parasites on fish sometimes, like not to get too into detail about parasites and bacteria and things like that for fish, but if you keep the tank clean, then your fish are less likely to get a bacterial infection, or it's gonna help with, let's say, ick, because ick kind of free floats parasites. So it'll kind of at least help out with that. It's not one size fits all, just like most products in here, but we really like them. We run UV sterilizers, of course, at a larger scale because our tanks are a lot bigger, but we use this and we move it around to our smaller aquariums or tanks that need a little bit extra UV. So yeah, let's get right into it. Let's open it up, take a look at it. Only $39.99. I want to start with that here. So here it is. Hygger has got their nice black, orange, and green box. That's kind of their branding. Okay, so all right, see, it's all there for you. Just real simple plug and play here, packaged up nicely here. So yep, it's all out for you here. This is the pump here on top, and then the UV is on the bottom here. And this is just the plug to plug it in. So it allows you to set a timer for it, just in case you feel like the tank is getting too clean. You can set it for 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours. So you're able to set it to whatever you need, which is really nice about it. So it's really easy to open up. So you just twist it, and there is the UV light in there. So that is actually what sterilizes all the algae, the bacteria, all that stuff. That is what the pump pushes the water in. I don't want to break it because I have to buy it. And then here's a pre-filter sponge on there too. So it's gonna act as a filter as well. Not a lot. I mean, a sponge, like I talked about before, is biological and mechanical, but not much chemical. It says it has a little bit of carbon in there, but I wouldn't depend on this. I like running UVs as a secondary filter with a hang-on filter, a canister filter, a sump. So you definitely still want a little bit more filtration, but this works great as a secondary. And like I said, it adds oxygen to your tank. So there's multiple benefits from this UV sterilizer. And then it comes with a couple little accessories here. If you want to add a spray bar, has some suction cups on there, different types of jets. And then it has an air line if you want to inject air into it. It pulls air from the outside and you'll see little micro bubbles inside your tank if you like it for that reason. But yeah, I mean, all you have to do is just get it in the aquarium, plug it in. You won't see results like overnight or anything like that. It's gonna take a little bit of time depending on how, I guess, quote unquote, bad the situation is. It could take a little bit. If it's very green, it's gonna take longer. If it's very minor, then it's gonna be quicker. So we have it in action here on our coral flat tank. Hey, we're not perfect. We are running a UV because we're dealing with a little bit of dinos. This is the photosynthetic kind, so we need a little bit of added UVs in this system to sterilize the dinos from growing more. So yeah, we just have it on its side, just pushing the water out, and then we have it plugged in. We have it on a 24-hour cycle right now. So like I said, like there's so many purposes for a UV sterilizer. There's a lot of misconceptions about like quarantine tanks and things like that. Just kind of go shortly into that real quick. Is quarantine tanks are great for the right customer. Like realistically, like a lot of times quarantine tanks are pretty challenging to keep because you have a bare bottom. You generally are trying to like medicate it without any sand, gravel. You can't run carbon in it. So like in my honest opinion, for an unexperienced or maybe a new Aquarius, it's pretty darn challenging. I think if a fish is healthy and your tank is doing pretty good, I think sometimes it's just better to put it in the aquarium, because if you put it in quarantine, it's usually not a bacteria or parasite that has a tendency to take out a fish. It's more so that the ammonia rises in the tank, stresses the fish out, and that usually gets them sick, and then that's a snowball effect. And a lot of times, like customers that set up quarantine tanks put them in batches, so they get quite a few fish, go from 0 fish all the way to a bunch of fish. It's just like us cycling an aquarium. It's like we kind of go backwards in that sense. I just want to bring that up because like if you have a clean system, a UV sterilizer, maybe a hospital tank, a fish gets injured, or maybe it does get sick and you pull it out, it's not catastrophic, or it's not an apocalypse in your aquarium. It's kind of like the real world. Like, unfortunately, some of us do get sick, but doesn't mean like all of us are gonna get sick if removed fast enough, or maybe it's just to that one fish. That's all that you need, and that's easier to deal with in a hospital tank, or even you can still call it a quarantine tank. But yeah, like that's why I think having a UV sterilizer in the tank and just keeping it clean and keeping the fish healthy, I think is a great alternative from setting up a quarantine tank. You can still run a UV in a quarantine tank, but in your main display, I always like to have one available. At $39.99 now, like it's well worth the investment, and it'll make your tank look a lot clearer, like realistically. And like I said, if you feel like your tank's getting too clean, or you still want, you feel like it's affecting your beneficial bacteria or nitrifying bacteria, then just run it for 4 hours, run it for 8, run it for 12, or turn it off and then turn it on when you need to. So a lot of great things about this UV sterilizer, especially at the affordability of it. I didn't want to forget, you can actually put it in any type of water tank for reptiles too. So like we're in front of the turtle tank. Turtles can be a little bit dirty. They produce a lot of waste, eat a lot. So you can definitely put a UV sterilizer on turtle tanks, even if you have a paladarium or any type of water feature in your terrarium at home. You can still run a UV for it. Again, it'll have all the benefits of it and act as a filter, especially if you have lower water. You can lay it on its side and you can still have about maybe 3-4 inches of water. Pretty hard to filter when it's that low. So that's a great one if you don't have a lot of body of water. So yeah, come in, see us for a UV sterilizer. We do sell some on depotpet.shop. You don't have to just get the Hygger one. We carry other brands, Aqua UV, Aqua Top. So there's a lot of different other brands that we do for UV sterilizers. But yeah, definitely subscribe to the channel, follow us on all our social media, comment below, like this video. Gotta go back to work. So I'll see you guys on the next one.